We can't forgive what's forbidden. Remain in them trenches. Trust in the Lord, but please forgive me for the times that I did. If rank is given, have your respect to your apprentice. Be about your business. This loyalty's a death sentence. Look, trying to pick up with a blind fail. They said there'll be many mansions. I'm just grinding for my time share. Them devils ain't playing fair. They hunt you like bad pal. But ain't no getting out the game like Jumanji. You take that oath, it's a Dundee. They try to deal death to a priest. You won't make it out in one piece. So you can stand. Just make sure you got the heart. Say your name 3 times, then it's death do us part. No. So how you feel about this truth I done shown? This ain't the life you think, little nigga. I should want. Even your own people go disown. And the Lord said they hate you for my name. So you better keep it on. Ain't no more guessing. Ain't no more questions. Make sure my election till I'm tucked away like George Jetson. Murder for capital, now it's murder at the Capitol. The world in amazement, we like fuck 'em, raise it, raise it. I pity those watching life as it goes by. Be giving mercy in this life, I don't know why. In pump smoke, never try to. They dead at home, my brother be the dead, it's all I don't. In the photo, salute my nigga, salute my nigga. They like, how you stay focused? I told them I'm motivated cause of you, my nigga. Brotherhoods and weapons, still got weapons on the scene. And I never do my niggas like Bishop did Raheem. Never mind in all beliefs, they under anesthesia. Shorty say she leaving, said she wanna let that love go. Told I let that love grow. But if I bring you to my bed, that's a blood oath. So, how you feel about this truth I done show? This ain't the life you think, little nigga. I should want. Even your own people gon' disown. And the Lord said they hate you for my name, so you better keep it on. Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm willing to fight against drug dealers if they Muslim, if they Christian, if they atheist, if they Buddhist, if they killing black men, guess what? I'm gonna say something about it. Because you know why? Just like you ain't gonna, like your boy said, it ain't gonna happen. Guess what? I'm not letting nobody sell you drugs without me saying that. I'm not gonna do it. Even though I don't know you, guess what? Just like that's your boy, guess what? I'm your boy. Even though I don't know you, I'm not letting nobody sell you crack. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you are a black man like me. And it works out.
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain. And a lot of sorrow, got betrayed, so packed, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road, like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire, the rhythm man blues, for this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good record. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good shepherd. Plus when you in hell, how did you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I don't believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain. Something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword, with a style that they might just record. The only thing equal is the curse for the wicked and the righteous reward. Have mercy on the many, don't see it. Separated from the tares, now on my prayers, and it's so be it. A rebel, take the world by word of mouth. UPK, we the rebels that you heard about. Yeah, and it ain't gonna stop till 100 virgins in the house, and I'm handing verdicts out. Yeah, rank, you ain't heard a clout, without a shadow of a doubt. These devils hitting licks off us. Fuck the bank, I'm about to storm the pocket ticket office. Can't sweet talk us, cannot stop us. And plus I know the feds watching us. Telling people that they church full of witch doctors. Put us in prison, they stockpile us. Meanwhile, UPK turning rebels into rock wallers. And leave with mighty men. And now I understand things that never truly made sense. Like why I'm crying at this funeral for a criminal, knowing he ain't innocent. It's fucked up. but my boots shine. Standing between two priests, about to blaze on their ass, call it tough love. Look out for niggas just club and wouldn't touch a white bitch with O'Shea's black gloves. Father, forgive me for my error. I'm forever by your side. Clean and purge me of all my flaws. This the reason I'm alive. Thank God for this truth, cause for a long time was a rebel without a cause. Look, man, first time I met manager YAHANNA, man, hit 3807. Rebel without a cause. I had my little daughter with me. Opened the door, he was dropping the truth on me and all that. Rebel without a cause. Man, you know, you do your time. We taking the mountains, training in hand-to-hand combat. Rebel without a cause. This the reason I'm alive. Up, thank God for this truth, cause for a long time was a rebel without a cause.
You cannot whoop us. We're already dead. We're already beaten down. We've been beaten down for 400 years. We already got the wounds inside and outside our bodies. How you gonna hurt us? You cannot threaten us. You cannot frighten us. We live in the most frightening places, under the most frightening conditions. We are immune to fear. We are immune to harm. You see what I'm saying? You have stepped into a cesspool. You're the only one gonna get infected.
Buck roll.
You'll never see another nigga like this. Used to have that white bitch popping on the night shift. Now I'm one westward, sharper than an ice pick. On you rappers' necks, and it's feeling like some vice grips. Yeah, that's light shit. Send my bro a kite quick. Ties of war, we ain't forget about you. Keep your light lit. Rappers can't see. Most of them scared to witness. Go on, close your eyes. There's one right here for the trenches. Bad bitches, natural hair or extensions. Hood niggas that'll probably grip like some dentures. Brothers on them fences. 23 and 1 out. Praying that that commissary hit before it run out. Bitches on the gram, dog filter with their tongue out. Couldn't stay home because they found the dugout. Closed casket, burner in the low jacket. My co-captain, riding on these whole rappers. My hoes fabulous. Now I don't mean that derogatory, but I'm a player and there's no my women riding for me. I avoided Maury. I got 2 jets. If I can't make it through for them, then I'm useless. Sit down that roof, Chris, with a couple bosses. After the war, just to count our losses. It's not many. You see a smile on my face, but I'm not friendly. Gun on my waist, sipping white Henny. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Waiting on the swerve in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart with my bow tie. Living in the swerve in my whole life. My whole life. It's so melodic. When I be dropping this ebonics, this ghetto phonics, it got me on the level supersonic. My bomb atomic, and you know where you can find me. Somewhere probably folding this paper origami. My name is pure as the Sani. My wave is like a tsunami. I went from 0 to 100, feeling like Ricky Bobby. I made a deal with the Reaper. Got a couple wives, they some keepers. Talk a lot of shit, but you can't walk a mile in my sneakers. Bitches go to Miami, come home and change features. Now she got a BBL, her ass fatter. Trying to show up all them niggas that laughed at her. Now when they see her, they only wanna fuck her. They just wanna touch her. They don't wanna cuff her. They just wanna come and kick it with her like a punter. Turned her to a runner, now it's all aboard the train. Fancy on the face, but it's not concealing the pain. It's a shame. That's why I'm in the hood like some rap snacks. I know niggas kill you and your mama for a scat pack. Dark tech, matte black, they do it for half that. Had you like 90s, Missy in a fucking trash bag. I'm from Philly, we don't do bank accounts, just cash app. I spit a verse and I just watch the time slow. This that God flow, this that shit that rappers die for. This that uncut Taha Wall straight from Pablo Escobar. I be at the bar like Moscato. They think it's effort, but no, this that block work. Make the countermeasures, take pleasures, making an op hurt. Minus in the sky, cause every verse is a concert. My mind work at speed y'all can't fathom. Listen to the words of a champion. You can't. The streets need another anthem. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know.
Shalom. You got me?
Muted, sir.
Oh, it's muted? Oh, Most High Christ.
TAWADAH.
Okay. Clap it up. Clap it up.
Salaki, sir.
No, you Tawad. Look at God. Shalom. Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shabarakatah of the brothers. Yahweh Shamar. Allah by Hashem Yahweh Shah of the sisters. Priest and officer Bon Kayal coming out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. We are the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge coming out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. Shalom. Shikatah, sir. You want it? You want it? Okay, Most High in Christ. And what we do in this school, because this is a school, not to confuse it with a church, okay, even though the word church translates to school, when you learn to study the language, in this school, we teach the truth of the Bible to so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, all right? And there's a lot of truths that we don't know, being God's chosen people. That's one truth that is intentionally withheld from so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We are treated with absolute disgust and disdain. You know, would you like to say, Quadam? Broke, busted, and disgusted. That's how the whole earth views so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, but not in here. In here, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are held in high esteem. We honor so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. So much so that every week we teach a Brotherhood class to show you your inherent value. You know, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we got to do a lot of soul searching, man. And this is a beautiful thing about being in this school is that, you know, you recognize the value of who we are according to what the scriptures say. All right. We teach positive affirmations according to what thus saith the Lord in the Isupk. You're not going to get a song and a dance in here. I'm sorry. You know, a brother told me that his rib was like, that's it? That's all y'all do? When she looked at the Sabbath service, you know, she was expecting us to break out into a song and to have some orgasmic frenzy. You know how they do the praise and worship. You know, everybody's looking for something, you know. But if you're looking for truth, this is the home of the truth. And you'll get fed in here. Pause. Anyhow, give me Zephaniah 2:1 if you can, brother. Like I said, this is our Tuesday night Brotherhood class. All over the world, in an ISUPK classroom, brothers are going to be going into brotherhood as a topic, man. We got to understand that brotherhood is the central tenet to the fabric of our nation, the fabric of the kingdom of heaven. This is what Christ taught about. He spoke about brotherhood. All the prophets, man, they spoke about brotherhood and the value of brotherhood. You ready?
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
So Zephaniah was a very wise individual. He told Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to gather together. Why would he have to say that? Why would he have to tell Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to gather themselves together?
Salagi, sir, because we don't understand a true gathering. It ain't no going to the Christian church or gathering under, you know, a Christmas tree. You understand? We are such a separate people. We hate each other. That he has to tell us to gather ourselves together because that's the only thing that we have is each other.
Right.
Salagi.
Okay. Most High in Christ. But even way back when, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians were at variance with one another. Right. We were divided way back then. The same way we are today. What are some of the things that divides us? Think about the things that divide, you know, you from your family members or you from your friends and associates. Think about the things that divide us as a so-called nation. Here in America, we were already outliers when it comes down to regular American citizens, okay? Everybody gets credit and they're just due in this place. They get justice in this place, but we don't. We don't get no justice, okay? When you look at society as a whole, like I said, we're outliers in America and when we go abroad. Wherever Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are, they're not valued there, okay? But there is one place where you will find your true value, and it's within the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, all right? Under Commanding General YAHANNA. It's the value of Commanding General YAHANNA. He exemplifies true brotherhood. You see the relationship that he has with General Mahaiman and General Mayaka'ala and General Hazayan and General Kabbalah Moth, you know, and even with some of the other captains, man. It's a beautiful thing. They set the example, you know. You got to understand that Christ is the standard, okay? He set the bar before any of us. Commander General YAHANNA right now in real time is showing so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians how to do it. He's teaching us the way that Christ taught us how to love one another, showing us the letter of the law and teaching us the spirit of keeping God's law, statutes, and commandments, man. And it all begins with brotherhood. So Zephaniah said that we need to gather ourselves together because we're divided. Even when we decide to come together, it's divisive. You think about the gang that you're in. You love every nigga that wears blue, but let a blood walk in here. Hey, cuz, what's up with all that red? This your brother we talking about, right? You think about the fraternities and sororities. The Deltas don't get down with the AKAs. The AKAs don't get down with the SG Rows. You think about us going into our oppressor's democratic system, his voting system. You know, the Democrats don't get along with the Republicans. And the Republicans and Democrats don't get along with those that identify as being independent. You know, it's divisive. But in here, whether you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, we all the same. We're all under the banner of Israel or Yasha Allah. Right. We know who we are, blood-related family. That's what nation translates to, okay? All right, so Zephaniah said to do what?
Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
Man, we can't expect anybody else to do this. Zephaniah said to gather yourselves together. All he did was spoke a word. We gotta find the fortitude to learn to love one another, man. We have to learn the value in social capital. And this is what I want to talk about tonight, because this is brotherhood. Recognizing the value of brotherhood is understanding what social capital is, okay? Zephaniah said to do what now?
Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together, O nation not desired.
We are a nation that is not desired. I got an article, you know, that's talking about the ending of Title 42. Right. You know, middle of this month, I think it's May 12th or May 11th, they're going to do away with this Title 42 edict, which was set in place during COVID, you know, to kind of curb illegal immigration, all right? I guess under Title 42, people were allowed to, if you came into the country illegally, you were able to state your case when it comes down to you being for citizenship, you know? You're trying to seek, what is it that they try to get when they come in as a refugee? Who knows? Nobody knows? So, asylum. Give that sister a hand. Yeah, right. Lord knows. Most High in Christ, I'll draw a blank there. So if you came into the country illegally under Title 42, you could go to the immigration office and seek asylum as a refugee, okay? And that is a human right, you know, for you to be able to go to another place because of whatever's happening, a catastrophe, or you might have government that is subpar. You think about what's happening in Haiti, how their government was being overthrown, and you know they got the gangs that are running rampant. People, God-fearing people that are law-abiding, they don't want to be in the midst of all that chaos. So they're going to go somewhere where they can be safe. They're going to go seek asylum elsewhere, okay? And that's what's happening at the U.S. border, at our southernmost border. You have an aggregate of, you know, no, that's perfect. Hispanics, you know, you got the Haitians down there just trying to get in still because of what's happening in their countries. And at the root of all of this chaos, at the root of all this confusion is our oppressor. He has his hand in everything. He's the reason why, you know, we don't get along to this very day. He's the root at why, you know, there's division within our family, okay? Zephaniah said that we are a nation that is not desired. How many troops are getting sent to the border right now? what is it, 140,000?
Right here on your.
What does it say?
So like it says Biden administration approved sending 1,500.
Salakia. Yeah, that was a I over exaggerated the number.
Okay.
But 1,500 troops, man.
Right.
You send the military in to do what? They didn't say the National Guard, or reservists. They said troops.
Right.
So what do troops usually do whenever they go occupy a place?
So like you said, they take ground or they take over that place, don't they?
Exactly. They're going to be going down there with weapons, armed to the teeth, to defend the border of America.
Right.
Okay. This is how I know that the Hispanics are of God's chosen people.
That's right.
This is how you know, because who was allowed to come in to America whenever there was unrest in their country? You think about those Afghani refugees. They flew in by the boatload. Them C-130s was packed. Them refugees was hanging on to the wheels.
That's right.
Unvetted. We know about Ishmael being a wild man. There ain't too many people to strap a bomb on themselves in the name of what's jihad,
Right.
waging holy war in the name of their God, kill themselves and everybody around. They have no regard at all for who's around. It could be the old, it could be the young, men, women, and children, man. Don't matter.
That's right.
Who else? Who else came into America unvetted? America rolled out the red carpet to the Ukrainians, to the Ukrainian refugees, man. This don't make sense. But if you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, your nation is not desired. I mean, make it make sense. Is that it on that verse? Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about social capital for a minute, all right? So you think about social capital with regard to brotherhood. Social capital is nothing more than the networks of relationships among people who live and work in a particular society, enabling that society to function effectively. Go ahead, brother.
So like I was looking for this video I had did on TikTok, man. And that's so heavy you say that because, like you said, the Ukrainians came over here and they was escorted over here. You understand that the African refugees, they came over here and they was escorted over here.
Right.
And both of them, America had some type of war or some type of feud going on with them. But I saw a video where the Venezuelans was trying to come over here.
Yeah.
And it says in record numbers, Venezuelans are risking their daily trek to reach the U.S. border, and many of them are children.
Is that with the Darien Gap? Is that mentioned in that article?
That's exactly what it is. Most High in Christ.
Yeah, they said that's one of the most treacherous stretches of land, because you got to go over all sorts of rough and rugged terrain.
Right.
And it's little to no civilization, And
if you see it out of wildlife, it's nothing but, I'm gonna try to pull it up if I could, but it's nothing but mud and this and that. Everybody covered in the mud. Mm-hmm. And this is our people that are coming over here on the borders. And of course, you got Esau talking about how, these people and this and that, they not, the Lord's chosen people or, whatever you have it. Then it's like, they also run their mouth, they run their mouth and talk about that. But again, it's okay for the African refugees to come over here.
Right.
It's okay for Ukraine to come over here. But like you said, with us as a people, we try to do something better for ourselves. Then here you go. Just like the Haitians that was under the bridges. You got actually the oppressor on horses beating our, Haitian brothers and sisters that's trying to just get free. Salakia.
No, you're right. You're right. That's crazy, man, because in that Darien Gap, you think about all of the venomous snakes that they have out there. That's a big issue that they deal with is people getting bit by venomous snakes.
Right.
Or venomous spiders, like the tarantulas. Can you imagine running across a tarantula? You getting bit, and you malaria, dealing with the mosquitoes down there. It's so many different factors that make that trek nigh unto impossible. But our people are doing it, man. Right. Our people are that resilient. We have that much strength, You got it? Yeah, images there of the Darien Gap, man. I couldn't imagine, man. I got a large family. I couldn't imagine having to trek my family through all that mud and all that jungle, man, all that water, in that intense heat. You bring your family through a rainforest. My kids don't like bugs at all. A fly come into the house, they panicking, acting crazy. So just imagine where's the compassion? America, where's the compassion for the Venezuelans, man? We are a nation that is not desired, according to Zephaniah 2:1, man. We are hated. We are despised in the earth. And why is that? Why are we hated by all nations in the earth? I know a big reason why we're despised is because everyone knows who we are except for us. We don't know that we're God's chosen people, but every other nation on the planet knows that we are God's chosen people. There's something peculiar about us in our natural state. All right. So we talk about social capital again. All right. You think about social capital, we're talking about the networks of relationships. This is how valuable brotherhood is. Brotherhood is all about relationship. I mean, what comes to mind when you think of the term brotherhood? I think you got the mics over there. Yeah. What comes to mind?
Salakia, what comes to my brotherhood?
Right.
What comes to my mind, brotherhood is, like an idea or a mindset of like being selfless, like always caring about the needs of your brother before your own sometimes, or most of the time. Having that security of having someone have your back, or always wanting to, consider the needs of your brother before your own and making sure you have each other's back.
Right.
Like those cornerstones of brotherhood, I really appreciate it, and that's what I think about when I think about brotherhood. Okay.
No, you absolutely get that brother a hand, man. You're right. What happened? Most High Christ. This mic don't work? Okay. No sweat, man. Yeah, it's three works. You just got to turn it up. Anyhow, you think about the networks of relationships, right? A network of relationships. In the ISUPK, we are forging the bridge between Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. For so long, even within the tribes, Negroes can't get along with each other for nothing. We hate each other for the most trivial things, the most simple things, so much so that we hate each other based off of complexion, light skin versus dark skin. I see the video of the brother doing, the light skin versus dark skin thing on TikTok, and they make the light skins look like they're very effeminate, doing, the LGBTQ stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hey, what is that? Dej Loaf. You always playing a Dej Loaf whenever the light skin do anything. It's terrible, man. But you think about the Hispanics, you talk about the differences between, Mexicans that are documented and those that are not documented that are living in America. And something as simple as that piece of paper divides them. Go ahead, brother.
That one female, she's a pop star, I think.
Uh-huh.
She's like a pop star, La Negra, the pretty female with the afro, the darker Dominican. She don't get as much love because she's dark.
The Afro-Latina.
Afro-Latina. They
Right.
classify as Afro-Latina, and then they don't support her as much. She's gorgeous.
Right.
And she said growing up that in the Dominican Republic, it's frowned upon for you to have darker skin. The grandparents
wow.
do not like that.
Right.
They treat the darker skinned grandkids worse than the lighter skinned ones. And they, pretty much forbid you to marry a darker skinned man because they want their children to be light skinned.
Right.
Which is a mental illness.
Right. No, you're right. That is mental illness. You're dealing with colorism. You're dealing with, a low self-esteem, just negative self-concepts, low self-worth. It's so many different things, psychologically that we're up against, in addition to, the other nations and the oppression that we deal with interacting with them. engaging with them. It's a ridiculous thing. So when you think about brotherhood, there's some synonyms that you could use, like fellowship or an alliance or a guild, right? Or go ahead, brother.
I got a Merriam-Webster definition.
Right.
It says, an association such as a labor union or monastic society for a particular purpose. But this other one, I think it's TAWADAH. It says the whole body of persons engaged in a business or profession.
Most High
And
Christ.
so, like, if you made, they need to put the Isupk beside that.
Damn
You
right.
understand? Because we know we are the ones of the body of Christ.
Right.
You understand? Like we were just speaking to our sister earlier, how we engaged in this as our profession.
Right.
And this is our business of being priests and prophets of the Lord, man.
Right.
So, like,
No, you're absolutely right, man. This is why we say we're doing the work, right? The goddamn Christian church ain't doing the work. Your pastor ain't doing no work. He working on sleeping with your wife. Right. He working on stealing your grandfather's pension. He's working on how he can get a better wardrobe, right, or a newer model Cadillac. The Christian pastors, the Christian church ain't doing a damn thing for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Right. And you know what? Most High in Christ said that because when we went to the Dogwood Festival, the consensus was that the church ain't doing enough. Right. The consensus is the church, they're not doing anything for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Right. They're not doing a goddamn thing for our people. Right. Okay? And that's a problem. When Christian churches are, scattered all throughout our communities, somebody's got to be lying. Right. We're the ones, you hate us because we tell you the truth. You hate us because we talk about your Christian pastor. We talk about the Christian church. We talk about the hypocrisy of Christianity and Christians. Right. We show you the value in literally loving one another, man. That's love. You tell a person to stop doing something that you know is going to destroy them. You tell a person to stop doing something that you know is going to bring them harm, and you hate us because of it. I mean, make that make sense. All right? So when you think about relationship, relationship just means the state of being like related or interrelated, okay? What relates? What are some of the things that interrelate so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? I mean, how do we determine if they were God's chosen people in this school? Right. Anybody? Go ahead, brother.
We determine it based off, the spirit of like their oppression, the struggle. We have a common oppressor,
right,
between the two of us,
right.
Which reminds me of the conflict in Nigeria that one time, where a Nigerian was going to war with each other. Well, their enemy was themselves. We have an enemy that is the oppressor,
right,
and we share that common enemy. We also share in the curses, also.
Most High, that's what I was looking for. The curses. The curses is how you identify who God's chosen people are. And we fit, as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, every last one of those curses outlined in the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Okay? You can start at 27:1, since, Christians, they only want to hear the good things. They only hear those things that are sweet, You talk about prosperity. Start at 27:1 and read down. When you get to the 28th chapter, you're going to see beyond the blessings what actually befell so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay? And this is a wake-up call. If you black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, man, we done oversimplified this process of identifying who you are. You don't got to rely on 23andMe. You don't have to rely on Ancestry.com. You don't got to swab your mouth and send it in the mail to some database so they could determine, who you are based off of your gene sequence, man. You don't got to do that, man. In here, we determine who God's chosen are based off of your father. That's how we establish our pedigrees. So whoever your father was, whoever his father was, that determines who you are. If you are black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, okay? And we have a 12 tribes chart that identifies each tribe. I'm from the tribe of Judah because my father and his father before him were so-called Negro. No relationship with a so-called filthy African or a Hamite, okay? That's another thing that we do in this school. Not only do we identify God's chosen people, we identify who the other nations are, all right? So you'll understand when you hear the word ham, we ain't talking about, the hindquarters on a hog. We're talking about a filthy African. Salakia. You ain't got me on TikTok, do you? No, because they're gonna clip it. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, I see what's happening. But Salakia, when we talk about relationship, there's value. There is real value in relationships. So the term capital, what comes to mind when you talk about capital? They just had another World Bank, major World Bank went under today, if I'm not mistaken. You see all this stuff with the whole BRICS nations trying to form their own form of currency to undermine and devalue the American dollar, which I didn't know, that our money wasn't backed by gold. We're no longer on the gold standard since the 70s, since before I was born. We've now adopted a fiat system when it comes down to our currency, okay? And what backs our currency? And what backs the American dollar? Who knows?
Was it gold? I mean, nothing really, but military.
Most High in Christ. The military might. The threat of violence. The threat of what? Operation Desert Storm. What was the operation that you went to in Afghanistan?
That was, the mission was Hearts and Minds.
Yeah, Hearts and Minds. What was the one over with Panama?
That was,
yeah. Man, that's America, man. America's nothing more than a bully. And its currency, was backed by the threat of violence. Point blank, period, man. And this is just like the oppressor. This is his MO. It's just like a bully, You pay up or else. This is how the money that you work for, that's the power that it has, okay? And it's all based off of the threat of violence, so the threat of the U.S. military, man. And that's a sick thing. That's a very disgusting thing. This is a very bloody nation, all right? And for you to pledge your allegiance to America, that speaks volumes about the content of your character, of who you are as an individual. If you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you cannot afford to allow your allegiances to lie in the belief of America. Get that, the hopes of the American dream, get that out of your head, man. You'll never attain the American dream if you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian in this place. You'll never get it. You'll never truly get that in this place. And if you do get it, you've compromised, man. You've assimilated and you've conformed and you've stepped on the backs of your brothers and sisters. You've cheated a lot of people in order to get into that position, man. And there's no rest for the weary, all right? So capital, the word capital, it just solely means value. What are some of the things that we place value in as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians? Go ahead.
Check. So, like, sir, if I may, very vain things. Like, we place value in, especially a old head. They eating that shrimp, pork, crab, and lobster. I've been eating pork all my life. He ain't did nothing to me. They see so much value in it, but they don't realize it's destroying them the more they eat it, man.
Right.
We got value in, even like the oppressor one. Good night. It's like you Israel. It's like they see so much value in the oppressor, especially with Uncle Ruckus. Good night.
Oh man,
he can't stand the fact that he's Black as damn self.
Right.
So
no, you're right. Yeah, you're right about it. I like that character, Uncle Ruckus, man. That was ingenious. But it's what's so scary about it is the fact that there's truth in that. There's a lot of people that actually personify Uncle Ruckus. Right. That's art reflecting life, literally. And Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we hate ourselves. The more that we fall in love with America, the more, our hatred for who we are naturally, it's amplified, you know. But when we talk about capital, we have to place value in our brothers and sisters, man. What'd you say earlier? Pull that precept about, loving your brother as yourself. This is a very important concept. That right there requires some real work for you to love somebody else as much as you love your goddamn self. Too many of us are self-absorbed. You can become a very self-involved person if you were to literally align yourself with the philosophy of America. When you think about their holiday system, every last one of their holidays is steeped in vanity, is steeped in idolatry, is steeped in you pledging your allegiance to another God and not the God of this Bible. Okay, this is the reason why we've done away with keeping any holiday of our oppressor. We don't celebrate our birthday back here. We don't tell our mother Happy Mother's Day whenever that day is. Right. And the Bible says to honor thy father and thy mother, right? So why the hell do they celebrate Mother's Day before Father's Day? Don't make any goddamn sense. This society is upside down, man. You got to come in here and get your brain washed free from the lies of the oppressor. All right. You got that scripture?
Come on. This is the book of Matthew. It's like in Mark chapter 12, verse 31.
Right.
And the second is like, namely this.
The second what?
Commandment, sir.
Right.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
So you want to talk about us actually building our communities to, I'm not talking about the barrio or the favelas or the ghetto, There's real value there. We just don't recognize it. Right. We don't recognize the value in the communities where we live, where we suffer together. We don't recognize the value in familiarity. You understanding or knowing who your neighbor is, contrary to you not knowing who your neighbor is, who the shop owner is, when you go get your groceries at the little bodega. There's value in that. In that familiarity. It's kind of it's disarming. It's disarming when you can forge a bond with someone that you know. Right. That is social capital. When I came in here, I didn't give a damn about other brothers. The only thing I cared about was me, myself, I cared about my brothers. I cared about my mother. I cared about my father. I cared about my damn kids, and I cared about my wife. Kinda, sorta, When I came in here, though, I started to learn to really cherish and value, all those relationships, right. And it made me love my wife even more. It made me recognize her value in my life with respect to our family. Right. It made me recognize the value of me being a strong man over my household. So that I could be a better husband, a better father, a better brother, a better son. All right. So when you think about capital or social capital, instrumental value is another term used by sociologists to describe the value or worth of objects and individuals that provide a means to some desirable end that satisfies some human needs and wants. So I listened to this guy, came to my slavery. He did a talk. His name is Al Condalucci. He's an Italian professor, okay? And he spent his life's work teaching the value of social capital, okay? And he showed in the middle of his lecture, he showed what you would call blue zones. Anybody know what a blue zone is? I think I got blue zones on there. Blue zones are these communities all across the world where the people are living and thriving in their communities, and they're living longer than anyone else on the earth. Okay, and the geographical location of these blue zones are usually coastal communities, where they have access to water. People that live near the coast, a lot of their diet will be, seafood, a lot of those beach towns. No, that's not it. I took Blue Zones down. Don't worry about it. I mean, you can just Google Blue Zone. You Google Blue Zones and you can see. I think the only one here in America is it's in California, Loma Linda. Yeah, yeah, which is odd. Yeah, which is really, really strange. And the only thing that's special about the Adventist Church, because I've thrown all that stuff away. I don't find any value in Christianity at all. Okay, but it comes down to the health message. They don't believe that you should consume any tobacco. They go so far as to saying you shouldn't consume any alcohol, but the scriptures say otherwise. You know what I'm saying? They can't really prove that. But with respect to their diet, most Seventh-day Adventists are vegetarian. Okay, so they don't have a lot of meat in their diets. Their proteins come from vegetables like legumes, like beans and such. That's where and nuts and stuff like that. That's where they will find the nutritional value from the foods that they eat. So what I found interesting about that is the fact that in here, the Bible talks about doing all things in moderation. Okay, you can't just, what is that? The keto diet where they have you eating just meat, protein, and like no carbs. That don't make sense. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we lead in what? Hypertension. We lead in heart disease. We lead in diabetes. We lead in what? Gout. We lead in every statistical category when it comes down to adverse health. Okay. No, it don't even matter. We ain't got to pull it up. I just do images so you can kind of see, where these blue zones are positioned. I think Okinawa, Japan is one. Loma Linda is another. I think they have one in Central America. I just found it very interesting. But these people in these communities, they all share a common interest or understanding about how to live. In the ISUPK, we share a common understanding on how to live our lives. And it's all steeped in you keeping God's law, statutes, and commandments. Right. That's what that first law was about, right? Keeping God's laws, loving the Most High Power, right? So when we talk about instrumental value, okay, the instruments or tools, a term used by sociologists to describe the value or worth of objects or individuals that provide a means to some desirable end that satisfy some human needs or wants. Like, think about your wife and the things that she does, for you every day, right? Or you can think about how much would it cost for you to go out to eat dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Imagine if you had to come out of pocket every day eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a restaurant. Whereas to your wife, she's cooking you breakfast, lunch, and dinner at home. What would be the monetary value on that? Okay. Or just, they even went and they talked about sex, for instance. Okay. Now, oppressor, it's okay for them to pay for that. And here we teach that sex is marriage, according to what the Bible says. So we don't treat sex like it's some, fleeting thing. We don't treat sex like it's not as important as it actually is. All right. We don't believe in prostitution. We don't believe in, the trichonology or whatever. We don't believe in that. Okay. But the oppressor basically said that, what would you normally pay for sex? $40? So think about the sexual, favors that your wife would pay you. That's what makes your relationship different than any other relationship with the women is the act of sex. Put a monetary value on that and the frequency. And he said, the number when he totaled all these things up, okay, it was over $250,000. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. What does the average black man make in America, man? $35,000? That's the average salary for a Negro? Or a spick or a wetback in America? So you couldn't afford to live a life of fulfillment based off of the oppressor, paying you. Think about the instrumental value of brothers. We depend on each other in this school, man. I had to move recently. I had to get brothers from the school to help me move. Just imagine if I had to come out of pocket and pay 2 men in the truck. How much is the average move? Who got $1,200 laying around if you black, Hispanic, or Native Indian? Usually. Not many of us. Okay? When you think about the school, okay? The instrumental value of being in the school, in good standing in this school. What are some of the benefits of being in the ISUPK? I mean,
Check. Salaki.
Yeah, go ahead. Run it down, Kodam.
Salaki, if I may, like you said, one is, the ultimate thing is brotherhood and sisterhood.
Right.
You understand? One is not being a wicked bastard that you used to be. You understand? Not, smoking that weed or celebrating, wicked holidays and being able to actually keep some money in your pocket. You know what I mean? Like going to, a brother in need, if you in need, you understand, and getting some help from this brother. Like,
right.
Salaki, the list goes on otherwise.
Right. No, you're right about that, man. There's so many different, ways that you can look at the benefits of being in this school. Right. Being a student, learning the truth, learning your identity. Okay, learning the value of brotherhood, learning the history of our nation. Too many people, they get lost in Africa. They get lost in the dark continent because the oppressor says that if you're a Negro, your people came from Africa. Right. That's their origin. They don't talk about how we got in Africa. Okay, see, in the ISUPK, we're taught to dig a little deeper and actually seek truth. All right. You think about, man, the value of counsel. We provide counsel in this school. If you're having issues as an individual, mental health issues, you're having issues with your family, you're having issues with your wife, they got marriage counseling. Every time, man, I tip my hat to General Muhammad. Right. That brother is Salaki. The Ottawa is very hardworking, man. You think about how tired you are when you're at the Passover doing whatever task you got. And General Muhammad is teaching scripture breakdown class. And then afterward, he's providing counsel, not just to the people in his zone, but to all of Israel. That's right. I mean, what time do you think he retired from counsel that night? That don't even make any sense, bro. Right. 5 a.m? Good night. And you got a problem with paying your goddamn tithes. This brother is literally, and I've had counsel with General Muhammad. I've asked him a few questions about, and the focus, he's literally focused on what it is what your problem is, what your issue is. He understands the value of communication. He wants to know inherently what's bothering you, what's affecting, so he could provide you with sound counsel, a working solution, okay? And there's real intrinsic value, in being in the school, okay? I can't put a dollar amount on it, but that's what intrinsic value is. Recognizing the value of something, like a watch. How much does this goblet cost? That's intrinsic value. It's different from instrumental value, all right? Is that it on that verse that you pulled? Read it again.
Come on. That's the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 31. And the second is like, namely this.
Right.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt what?
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Now, we understand contextually, neighbor is brother, okay? It's your family member, okay? Only in America, this context of neighbor is a Hamite or a Moabite an Asian, like a Chinese man, or an Ammonite, a Japanese man, or what is it, an East Indian. Those will be your neighbors here in America, because America's a melting pot, okay? Right. But wherever these people come from, those are not melting pots. Right. Why the hell does Chinatown exist? Why does Bollywood exist, or Little Italy? Why do these places exist? Because these people prefer one another, okay? Unlike Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we have to be forced to live together in subsidized housing. We much rather go, be the only nigga in first class. Right. So you'll lie, cheat, and steal and kill like your oppressor just so that you can get away from your brothers and sisters, man. Right. You'll be neighbors with the enemy before you'll find solace in being next to your brother or your sister. And it shouldn't be that way. That's right. All right? It should not be that way. Read that again.
Khan. The second is like, namely this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Right. Love your neighbor as yourself. What does that mean? What does that mean? You know how you feel about loud music being played in the wee hours of the morning. Would you gonna play loud music and disregard, your neighbors? You said, Oh, maybe that was a bad analogy. But literally, think about the things that affect you, things that make you mad, things that really get your blood boiling, and don't do those things when it comes down to other people. We have to be more reflective as a nation of people. We have to consider one another. We got to consider the feelings of, our brothers and sisters. Right. Now, I'm not saying consider the feelings of your mama wanting you to come to the Mother's Day service. We ain't considering those feelings, because those feelings are debased by vanity. Those feelings are debased by selfishness. Okay, you giving in or taking heed to those feelings is going to put you in a world of hurt, in a world of trouble. It's going to set you at variance against the Most High Power. Okay, we don't pay attention to those feelings at all. This is a very easy thing for me to ignore my mother when her birthday rolls around. Right. She looking at me with them puppy dog eyes, like, it's October the 5th. Right. You ain't gonna wish me happy birthday. Salakia, that's not our custom, huh? I can't do it. And after a while, she'll stop, looking at you with them puppy dog eyes on her birthday. After a while, she'll stop giving a damn about her birthday. You have to be the change that you want to see in the world. There was some truth to that. There really is. And that's what the ISUPK is. We are the living standard of what Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians should strive to be. More light, only because we've applied God's laws, statutes, commandments to our life. We've applied the tenets of brotherhood, which is synonymous with sisterhood, to our lives, okay? That's what it's practical application. It's what you actually do. This is how you prove your faith, all right? You say you love God, prove it. It's not about lip service. It's about what you do. It's in your actions. It's in your conduct, okay? You don't love God if you celebrate your birthday. You don't love God if you eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. You don't love God if you're hating your brother or your sister. You're not loving them like you love yourself. You're talking junk about them behind their back. You know how that feels when you find out somebody been backbiting. So why the hell are you doing it? We got to learn how to consider one another, man. Is it on that verse? Keep reading, Baba Kushah.
Khan. There is none other commandment greater than these.
There is none other commandment greater than these, man. This is what the Most High Power says about brotherhood and the value of brotherhood. That's social capital. That's what that is. So you got to understand that we become better people, more tolerant, more respectful, more compassionate, more forgiving of the people that we know. How do you know a person? You got to spend some time with them, right? You got to communicate with them. I used to hate that process when you're trying to, date a sister, is the whole getting to know her. You spending long hours on the phone, the wee hours of the morning, both y'all sleep, breathing on the phone. But you're spending time with that person. You're getting to know this person. Okay? This is the reason why I come in this class just about every day, because I find value in the relationships that I build with Officer Zion and Kowal and Officer Quadam, and Sister Arabah, getting to learn new things about people. Learn something new today. Blew my mind. I didn't even know it. And it's a beautiful thing, It's a beautiful thing. All right? But when you know somebody, don't you treat them a little different? So like preferential treatment, right? Like with the Most High Power. When you get to know the Lord, his response to you is a little different. Your prayers, he hears those prayers, unlike when you didn't know him, unlike when you were being an absolute jackass on the earth, being disobedient. The Lord don't hear a sinner's prayer, okay? There's preferential treatment. Officer Zion can call me 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm there, all right? On the strength of it's Officer Zion calling, okay? But my slave master at the slave, he could call me the same. I'm not going to be there. He's not going to get the same zeal or response that I'm going to give my brother or my sister. You got to recognize the value in that, okay? That's how we prefer one another, all right? When you don't know a person, though, you're more cold with those people. It also breeds an air of dishonesty. You're more liable to be unrighteous when you're dealing with a stranger. Why is that? We talk about dishonesty is driven by disconnections between people. It's easy. It's easier for you to run down on the ops because you don't know these brothers. You don't even care to want to take the time to know these brothers. They only live a block over. What is it? 63rd and 64? What's the difference? You're both still living in absolute squalor. You're living in the damn ghetto. And you can't identify with each other's struggles. You have the same oppression. You're looking at each other like we're enemies when the real ops are the police is patrolling your neighborhood, man. Those politicians that your pastor parades before the congregation on Sunday, okay? Those are the real ops. Your pastor is a real op, okay? So why people are less trusting and personable in big cities versus small towns in the country, That's that phenomenon. I told you about the time I went to see my rib, went to go visit her, and people are just waving. They on their front porch, they waving. It's a close-knit community in the country. Everybody knows everybody. But when you're in the city, you ain't gonna be none of that. Go ahead, sis.
Salaki, and I found that to be the absolute opposite.
Really?
From being from the city and moving down here, I've experienced things since I've lived here that I never experienced in the city.
What
Never.
part? You lived in the city or the suburbs?
I lived in the city.
Really?
On the west side of Chicago.
West side. That ain't the south side.
That's not the south side.
Oh, so that sounds like there might have been a little.
But it's. I experienced the total opposite.
Really? So you don't come from a privileged background?
I'll just say we moved back to Chicago
right.
once my dad got out the military.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't necessarily grow up in Chicago, but my experience is totally different. Like back home, like the way people are, how they treated you, even though they're in the world versus living here, it's totally different.
Well, you said something that was important. You said home. So you're familiar with these people, I'm thinking like when you go to New York, if they have the Passover in New York, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. And people are very cold. They're very they're just not personable, I experienced that when I lived in DC, spent time in Baltimore. I mean, I've been all over. And only in small, close-knit communities where, people are more receptive, and you being a stranger, they're more receptive to welcoming you on the strength of who you're there with. Somebody that they know, somebody that they recognize, somebody that they're familiar with. Okay. But that's interesting. You might just be an outlier. You bring them to class so we can fix that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about, we're talking about social capital. Okay. When we talk about, this is the Brotherhood class, man. And we know that Brotherhood is central to just the fabric of our nation. This is what makes things work, us getting along with one another. All right. Social capital is a notion that makes us better as a society. When people know you, they treat you better, and there's a value of close association and relationship. And the guy talked about he used like if you're at a drive-through and cashier hands you $10 in change, and he don't owe you no change. Okay. If that cashier was a kid that you knew, your son or your daughter or your cousin, your neighbor, you'd be more inclined to let them know, look, your register going to be short at the end of the night, and you give them that $10 back. Whereas to it being a complete stranger, beautiful thing about in here, we understand the value of the law. Right. Thou shalt not steal. You know good and damn well he gave you $10 and you weren't supposed to get no change back. So if you're a righteous brother or sister, you will give the money back. Right. Okay? That's the difference between what Al Condalucci was talking about and what Commander General YAHANNA is laying down for so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay? We keep God's laws. All right? That is the true value in social capital. Okay? All right. Go ahead, sir.
I would like to say something about what Commander General YAHANNA put down. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that I was privileged to this Passover, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing I can rest assure you is, Commander General YAHANNA said he's gonna take care of something. It's done. It's done beyond measure. Like it'll happen without you even having to ask for it. You understand? Right.
Wow.
And one thing I can say, that was the thing that he had said he was gonna do regarding the Passover, the Black Party, and I can rest assured that I do. Commander General YAHANNA took care of his business. Right. And it goes in like that. He showed like there was no need to hold on to anything because it means more to just give than to just hold on to what you have. And I see that with just having a conversation with our one, and it's real.
Right.
We get caught up on holding on to our little safe havens, and you got a man that's gonna give his all to you, like just because he can.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's heavy.
He ain't good without thinking about it. Damn right.
Yeah, damn right. Give him a hand. I mean, just imagine all the time, it took for him to get to that, selfless state of mind where it's not even a thought. You just do it. It becomes second nature. That's a beautiful thing, And I would strive to be more like a brother that is selfless and generous and gracious and long suffering. A brother that is empathetic. He really understands and sympathizes with our conditions. He don't have to. He really don't have to. You know what I'm saying? He could be eating high off the hog, as the Negro would say. You know what I'm saying? He could have got him 10 Bentleys and, a private jet like your favorite pastor. But he ain't doing that. Commander General YAHANNA is a man of the people, literally. Right. All right. Where we at? So, right. So Brotherhood is the framework for building a better community. All right. When you treat other Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the way that you want to be treated, or holding them in high esteem, if you honor other Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, regardless of familiarity, you got to understand and start looking at each other like we are blood related. Okay. You start looking at a Hispanic like being your blood relative, you know, it makes it easier for you to be a brother to them. Whereas to you just looking at the colorism or the language barrier, you know, or the geographical differences, you know, you recognize that this is your family. You treat family differently than you treat anybody else, any other loose association. You don't treat your colleagues the way you treat your family. You don't treat your peers the way you treat your family. You know, you'll jump out the window for family. That's how we got to be, being Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Okay. It's a lock here. Just give me, let's do Luke 6:31. Luke 6:31. So social capital, though, only works when God's law, statutes, commandments are kept. All right. That's the only time it works for so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. I mean, truly works. The Bible teaches us to live peaceably with all men. Okay. So we're not telling you to go out here and abuse any heathen. I'm not telling you to go out here and abuse a so-called white man because he's a white man, or a white woman because she's a white woman. We don't advocate for violence. We're the most polite, law-abiding people on the planet, man. Okay. And we know that we dishonor not just ourselves, but our nation when we do that. And you talk about we're a hate group. You put us in line in the same leagues with the Ku Klux Klan, man. And these white right-wing extremist groups, man, that are known for shooting up, bombing churches and, you know, lynchings and, you know, burning crosses in people's yards. I mean, you think about all the crimes that have befallen, you know, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians at the hand of the so-called oppressor. And then you want to equate the ISUPK with that? They have a history of violence. We don't have a history of violence. So you're misusing the term hatred with violence, okay? Hatred just means separation, all right? If I hate black eyed peas, you'll never see a black eyed pea on my plate, ever. Ever, ever, ever. And I don't really care for black eyed peas, you know, because I ain't never had anybody make black eyed peas that had actual flavor, okay? But yeah, in the ISUPK, we're not a hate group, man. But we do teach Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to separate from the things that are destroying them, separate from groups of people that mean them no goodwill at all, okay? You got that scripture?
Comic-Con is the book of Luke. Luke chapter 6, verse 31. And as ye would that men should do to you.
So this is the thing about Christians, man. What color is this written in?
It's written in red,
It's
sir.
written in red. So that means that who's speaking right now?
Yahweh Shai is speaking, sir, or who the world ignorantly calls Jesus.
Yeah, Yahweh Shai is speaking right now, right? Christ is speaking right now. You know, Christians kill me, you know, wanting to say I'm a Christian, but you don't do what Christ said to do at all. You don't place value in Christ's words or in his sacrifice. Okay. He said, and as ye would what?
And as ye would do, so like as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise.
What does that mean? So the way this was explained to me as a child was a golden rule. You know, do unto others as you'll have them do unto you, right?
So like it's so heavy when you think about it too, because we know gold is value, right?
Right.
So this right here, if it's so gold, it should have a lot of value to it.
Right.
But you would never see that value that the Christians had in another brother or sister.
Right.
So it's simply saying do unto you. So how you would want somebody to treat you, you treat them the same way.
Right.
But it's totally the opposite when it comes to the Christian church. They do everything opposite or contrary of the Most High in Christ.
They do.
So it's not really golden to them. They really treat it like toilet tissue. I don't want.
Yeah, worse than toilet tissue, man. Like gum on the bottom of your shoe. You know, something that is just that holds no value at all. Go ahead, brother.
And also, I hear many times since I was young till now, Christians say this thing where Christ did it, so I don't have to. Christ did it, so I don't have to. He did it for me. He bared this for me. And they take that mindset when it comes to brotherhood and sisterhood. They're some of the most rudest, nastiest people you ever want to meet. Especially, if you go to a buffet on a Sunday, just fresh out of church and will not say excuse me or thank you. They're just very rude. So I guess Yahawashi died, so you have to be polite. Like, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Christians always used to say that. Like, so all these things that we teach as far as loving your brother, loving your sister, considering you, having empathy, you understand, keeping the law, statutes, commandments, they truly believe that since Christ did it, they don't got to do it.
Right.
So their whole life is dedicated to just self-pleasure and do what I want.
Right.
Even the messages like, God, please remove anybody out of my life that don't mean me no good. It's so selfish. Everything about the life is selfish.
Right. No, you're right. Them Christians, the Christians that have that philosophy of Jesus paid it all, so you ain't got to do a damn thing. You just show up and be whoever the hell you are, and treat people the way you want them, the way you want to treat them. Literally, is that it on that? Give me John 13:34. The book of John, chapter 13, verse 34. Today we talking about social capital with respect to brotherhood. Okay. We're talking about the value of brotherhood. All right. This is something that we should really value. Same way you like to get that paycheck, every 2 weeks, you put value in that. You got to have more of a love for other brothers and sisters, man, that are Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. All right. You got to love them more than that money that you get. All right. You got to love brothers and sisters, truly love them. And it ain't got nothing to do with no feeling. It has everything to do with action, because love is an action. That's right. All right. You got it, brother?
It's the book of John, chapter 13, verse 34. A new commandment I give unto you.
Right.
That ye love one another.
What color is this written in?
It's written in red also.
Okay. And we said this is a new commandment, right?
Come.
What is a commandment? What is a commandment?
So, like you said, a commandment is an order.
An order given by what?
By a person in authority.
A person in authority. You think about a commander, right? Commander gives orders, right? I'm talking about the Lord being a man of war. Christ was a very austere man. He was serious about this. He wasn't playing. You know what I'm saying? A new commandment I give unto you. Unto who?
Unto Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians.
That's right, because we were given the laws initially, right? We were given the laws solely us when we came out of Egypt. We had the law in the Garden of Eden. Most people don't want to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? That's another class. I'm going to say that for tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? But Christ is basically saying, this is a new commandment because we don't consider it. We don't even consider it. This is him leveling up the spirit of brotherhood, literally. Go ahead.
It's a lock, if I may. I just thought about it too. You know how, of course, the Christian church, they say, see, Jesus changed the law and this and that, right? But it's like some things be new to other people, but old to other people.
Right.
So it's not new to it wasn't new to Christ at this point in time.
Right.
But it was new to us because we wasn't doing what thus said the Lord. We wasn't doing the law, statutes, commandments.
Right.
So the information was new, but the law being laid out was not new, sir. So
man, this is heavy because it's coming from Christ. Right. And the sacrifice that Christ made for his people was different than any other prophet or patriarch that lost their lives for the sake of the Lord, right? Christ died specifically for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's right. To give them the opportunity to be saved, in the end, literally. Right. So this is the reason why he says this is a new commandment that I give unto you, right? Come. That
ye love one another as I have loved you.
Wow. As I have loved you. When they say Jesus paid it all, he paid it all. He really did. He laid down his life for the sake of niggas that did not deserve that sacrifice. And I always try to put myself in the mind of Christ prior to his crucifixion. Think about it. Would you lay your life down? You're doing it now. If you were in the ISUPK under Commander General YAHANNA, you loving other brothers and sisters as Christ loved them. That's right. On the weekend, you know, pushing that warmth off you on Saturday morning. That takes love, brother. That takes real love to do that. And to go out before, you know, the masses, go out before society and to speak, thus saith the Lord. The prophets were hated, man. We're hated because they call us a hate group because of us teaching the truth of God, the truth of the Bible, you know, the truth about Christ. Keep reading.
That that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another.
Man, so this is heavy, man. Christ laid his life down for the sake of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the nation of Israel, Yasha Allah, right? So that's your duty if you black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, to lay your life down for your brothers and sisters. We're talking about holding true to your office. Officer Zion Salakia, sir.
Salakia, I was about to say, you talk about laying down your life, and what you said, how we stand, go out on the streets and teach this truth, right?
Right.
We're doing something that's virtually been eliminated in the earth. Like, because nobody on earth teaches the truth about the Bible, right? So in this school, we're the only ones authorized on this planet to go out and teach the entire planet the truth about the Bible. When you talk about the identity of the earth,
right,
and what the Bible stands for, it's eliminated in the earth. We teach that according to the Bible, it's Adam, you know what I'm saying, had the truth and broke it down to the other nations. And the Lord asked us not to go into these other nations and do what they do, right? And he only gave it to a specific group of people.
Right.
Nobody else teaches that on the face of the earth. Nobody teaches the truth about who the oppressor is in the different nations of the earth. Have you ever heard the seven crowns and 10 horns? Where you heard that on the earth? You've never heard it before.
Right.
So we talk about standing for this truth, man. Everybody else is living and doing what they want to do.
Right.
And Isupk, you a brother or sister, you are putting your life down. You are setting aside the things that you desire the most, the parties and the friendships you may desire from the people in the world, the different trips and vacations that you may want to go on, the different holidays that you want to be a part of, your friends and your family want to see you come around. You drop all of that. Like, you forsake all of that for this truth.
Right.
When the world looks at you strange because you say that you love the Most High. But they also say that they love Christ too. They say they also follow, let's know who the Most High is too. But their lives don't look like our lives. They don't. So when it comes to telling the truth is, we can't get frustrated because we don't understand where we are right now in the earth.
Right.
You just got to know you're different than everybody else in the earth. And sometimes that's just going to have to be good enough. You understand? It's not going to be what you think it is, all the bells and whistles.
Right.
Because the world has the bells and whistles. You talk about how the priests and prophets died. They died alone. They sacrificed their life. A lot of them died horrible deaths.
Right.
And nobody celebrated them.
Right.
We celebrate them by keeping the law, statutes, and commandments today. Because we know the truth of what they died for. The Christian church don't know why John died. The Christian church don't know why who else died? Paul. Why he was even on the island of Patmos. You understand? Shit. So with that being said, go ahead, brother. I'm gonna let you keep doing this.
No, damn right. Get Ottawa a hand, man. That's heavy. That's absolute heavy. If you can, brother, can you give me the book of Haggai, chapter 1? He went out. Officer Quadam, give me the book of. Yeah, man. Yeah, I want to kind of touch on this. We talking about social capital with respect to our communities, with respect to our family or our nation. Okay, and we all have to be on board. We all got to be on the same page. Can't be reading off a different sheet of music, man. Haggai 1, chapter 1. You know. Yeah, you can put social etiquette up there real quick. No. Keep going. No, don't worry about it. Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. There it is right there. You know, when you think about social capital, you know, you could use that. You could leave it there. We don't really need it right now, though. So when we talk about us creating an inclusive community for so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, us embracing our differences, okay? When you talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we got to understand that the Lord loves Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, all right? I'm not going to get into that whole favorite tribe nonsense. A lot of cats like to argue that, oh, Benjamin is the Lord's favorite tribe, or Levi is the Lord's favorite tribe. You know, I'll argue that Judah is the Lord's favorite, but we're not going to make that argument. You know what I'm saying? Just on the strength of King David, just on the strength of King Solomon, just on the strength of Yahweh Shamashiach being from the tribe of Judah. But, you know, the Lord loves us all, okay? All right, Salakia. You can't teach that. You know, we don't teach that. All right? Don't go thinking that you're devalued or undervalued if you're from another tribe, man. Be grateful that you're an Israelite, all right? That's where we have to place value. The whole world devalues us, all right? We have to start recognizing our value, our own self-worth. There is value in social capital and us understanding who we are, understanding our history, which is found within the pages of the Bible. That's our history book. Inside of those pages of the Bible is our Constitution, teaches us how to live. That's the paradigm for the way we're supposed to live our lives on this planet, man, all right? So in the ISUPK, we identify disparity through the injustices that have befallen God's chosen people, and we provide working solutions to ameliorate these conditions, allowing Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to retain the favor with the Most High Power, all right? We're teaching you to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Get back to doing that. Get back to the old ways. Get back to that old path. Get back to keeping these traditions, all right? The Christian church do not follow the tradition of Christ. They don't. That's a separate doctrine taught to you by the oppressor to separate you from the Most High Power, all right? Where we at? Haggai? Let's get it.
This is the book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 1. In the second year of Darius the king, in the 6th month, in the first day of the month, came the word of the Most High by Haggai, the prophet, unto Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and to Joshua, the son of Jesedek, the high priest, saying, verse 2, thus speaketh the Most High of hosts, saying, this people say that the time is not come, the time that the Most High's house should be built.
No, so this is very interesting. This is after King Nebuchadnezzar destroyed, the temple, all right? And that was during the first temple period, 1200 to 586 BC. So the first temple was built in 1000 BC by King Solomon. Who was King Solomon?
So like I said, the son of King David.
King David's son, right? All right. Why couldn't David build the temple? Yeah, Most High in Christ. I knew that warrior would know that. I knew only a weapon would know that. David had too much blood on his hands, That's the reason why Solomon had to build the temple, right? So the temple was destroyed in 586 BC by Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, when he conquered Jerusalem, all right? And at this point in time, Haggai, is telling the people this time to rebuild the temple. How long are we going to wait? How long are we going to wait before it's time to rebuild the Lord's house? All right? That's what's happening here. Keep reading.
Verse 3. Then came the word of the Most High by Haggai the prophet, saying, is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses, and this house lie waste?
Right. So this is what happens in Israel. This is what we were doing prior to us finding the truth. Everybody was seeking their own way. You were trying to figure out what your purpose is in life as an individual. And you were on that path to become whatever the hell it is you wanted to be, okay? And that's a very selfish, self-absorbed way to think as an Israelite, all right? We can't afford to be that way. We can't afford to just focus on our belly, our gut, our mouths, our house being, satisfied. We can't do that. Your brothers and sisters living next door to you need things. We're in need. We're in constant need, He said, is it time for you, O ye, to what?
Dwell in your sealed houses, and this house lie waste.
What does it mean, sealed? Sealed. E-L-E-D. Definition. Sealed. Oh, wow. This is crazy. When we talk about seal, or referring to ceilings, at one point in time we lived in tents, right? A tent don't really have a ceiling, It does have but it's not stable like the ceiling here, okay? Yeah, okay. And then also it says to furnish something. So it's furnished with a ceiling, or just think about a house that's fully furnished. You ever been to a house that ain't had no furniture? You go in the bedroom and it's an air mattress in there. No, this bedroom, this house was fully furnished. He's talking about the Israelites, gathering unto themselves, building up their own houses instead of building up the Lord's temple. All right, keep reading.
Come. Verse 5. Now therefore, thus said the Most High of hosts, consider your ways.
Do what?
Consider your ways.
What should Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians be doing right now?
Consider your ways.
We need to consider our ways, man. And it's not being selfish and self-absorbed and securing a bag, solely focusing on our individual trivial pursuits, because that's what the hell they are in the grand scheme of things. You putting all this time and energy in becoming whatever in this empire, and this empire is destined to fall. It's prophesied that Babylon will fall. So why the hell are you wasting so much time at your goddamn slavery, doing whatever to get crumbs from the oppressor? He ain't paying you a wage that you should deserve. Why are you doing that? You building up to yourself, man. While the Lord's house lies in waste, his brothers and sisters are sleeping on the street. You got 3, 4, 5, 6 bedrooms. It's just you and your wife, you and your rib. You should be ashamed of yourself, man. Hoarding resources to yourself. How much money does one man need? How much money does one woman need? Good night. Let's keep reading.
Verse 6. You have sown much and bring in little.
Good night. We sow much and bring in little. This is the reason why we got to say, pay your tithes, pay your tithes, pay your tithes, every damn class. Right. Not like your Christian pastor. We're actually doing the work. We're actually trying to bring this nation back together, man. We're trying to build this nation up. Otherwise, things are going to just continue to be the way that they have been. Us being on the damn bottom because we don't value one another, because we don't love one another, because we love ourselves more than, the brotherhood. Keep reading.
Come. Ye eat, but ye have not enough.
Yeah, keep reading.
Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink.
Right.
Ye clothe you, but there is none warm.
Good night.
And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes.
See. Go ahead.
That's so heavy right there. Because you think about it now, what the hell is everybody trying to do? I'm trying to chase that goddamn bag.
That's right.
And they chasing a bag with holes in it, because after they chase that bag, what the hell do they have after that? Man.
Nothing at all.
It's just vain, I don't want. You understand? The bag we chasing is the bag, that kingdom of heaven. You understand?
That's right. Yeah, damn right. Get that brother a hand. You're right. Get him fired up. Get him fired up back there.
You got me boiling now. And it's real, man, because it's like no matter what we do in this earth, if it's not about really trying to be in this truth and help your brother, like it's a distraction away from you doing what's right, man.
Right.
You know how many times you don't try to secure the bag and you think you was up 20 bands? You know, you got a little cushion over there. And the only thing you can really think about when you're in the world, when you got that type of cushion, is how to stun on the next nigga. How to show off for some bitch. You understand? It's always about, I can't wait to put these, but I'm going to kill these niggas once I put these rims on this car. Well, hey, she ain't want me then. I bet back then she didn't want me. Now I'm hot. Now she all on me.
What?
That's the motivation behind securing riches for yourself. You understand? It ain't about security. Them niggas lying. Talking about you want to secure generational wealth. You're lying. Shaq proved that. Shaq said, "This is my money. You got to go get your own money." That's how they think, and that's why them children grow up in a household. And guess what? First thing they want to do? They want to kill their parents.
Right.
They waiting on their parents to hit the dirt so they can go into that trust, or they can fuss and fight about that will. You understand? Look at all the riches that Whitney Houston had. Prince. All them chased. You think about all the people that we know that are famous, and guess how they died? On high as hell, on drugs, and alone. Dead. I'm telling you, so many of our people would know the truth and can hear this truth out, and instead of dealing with it when it's right in their face, they turn their nose up at it like it's not them. You understand? Because they love themselves more than they love their brothers and sisters. You understand?
Right.
That's the only reason for it. When somebody tell you the truth and you turn your nose up like you don't hear it, it ain't because it's not the truth. It's because they think they're better than you. Your truth has nothing to do with me changing my life.
Right.
That's your truth. Look how successful I've been my whole life. That's your truth. You know what I'm saying? Your truth ain't for everybody. Ain't know how they play it? But when you really take a deep dive at them, you see how self-centered that they are, man. And then the people that they say love them, they only love them for one reason only.
Right.
Because they're sharing their riches.
Right. Right.
You won't share it with the Isupk, but you'll share it with ones who give you, okay.
Right.
Hey, what's up, brother? You know what I'm saying? Five up, 5 down. Sun on the black side, moon, with all that other bull crap. We come in here to tell you to stop smoking weed. It's like, nah, brother. You know, I gotta free my mind, bro. This is the only things that get me free. Hey, mother, you gotta pay your tithes, man. I gotta get my bag, boy.
Get my bag.
Gotta get my bag. But where you from, brother? I'm from my mama, man. We're so afraid we're gonna lose something because we want to serve the Lord in the truth, and we end up losing everything. Go ahead, up.
No, get out of one hand, man. Man, us getting caught up in being self-absorbed is the reason why we don't have a damn thing, man. The Lord sees how selfish we've been. And that selfishness is rooted in disobedience, you know? That selfishness is rooted in our hatred for one another. Go ahead, sir.
And here go the other part. So like, if you keep cutting you off.
No, you ain't cutting me off.
If we don't do it right, the Lord gonna take it anyway. You understand? He gonna take it anyway.
Right.
Because there's somebody out there called the devil. And he come to steal and destroy.
That's right.
And if you ain't serving the Lord, he gonna get it. He may not get it from you.
Right.
But your son may mess it up. He may not get it from your son, but his daughter gonna mess it up.
Right.
Because they don't have this truth.
Right.
They don't have the brotherhood. They don't have the understanding of what it takes for them to be together to become strong in their tent. So at some point, somebody gonna want to be a part of it.
That's right.
The things that you leave behind, your inheritance may not be as exciteful to the next generation as to why we have the low down, dirty dog that he is, Esau. You understand?
Right.
And when you take on the mindset of the oppressor, guess what else you take on? You take on the spirit of the oppressor. And guess what you'll say before long? To hell with a birthright.
Right.
I want to party.
Right.
Huh? I want to get it on.
Right.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
Right.
You understand? Right. And now it's about cocaine, girls, and music.
Right.
Not about your inheritance. Just like that bastard today. And he's not going to stop till he steals every stitch of land that he can get his hands on. But you won't know it because you're clapping your hands with a goddamn tambourine.
Good night.
And sniffing cocaine on Monday.
Right.
Go ahead, Salaki.
No, you're right, sir. You're right. You're talking about just the rich of Israel hoarding unto themselves. You trying to hold on to that little refund check. You trying to hold on to your income tax money. Yeah, it's a little goose egg. Nah, you can't hold on to that. Run that. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Lord is saying. And because of your ways, because of your selfishness, you're not going to be able to build upon. That's not a strong foundation. All right. Qudam, if you can you continue to read?
Con, sir. Verse 7.
Hold on, Salaki. One more thing, Salaki. And you know the reason why we can't hold on to that goose egg? See, when we get that goose egg, to get it, we would go to the food line and the buy low to get the 2-for-1s and all that. The minute you get up in the game, guess what you start shopping at? Harris Teeter. Now you just got to get the Gucci loafs. Now you at Saks Fifth. You understand?
Right.
Now you had to go get that new car, right? That Chevy Caprice wasn't good enough. So guess what you got? Now you want to go get that Lexus. Now you want to get that Benz, that 6 Series Benz, that big body.
Right.
That big body don't take regular gas, huh?
Right.
That big body take premium. And that little goose egg that you had, guess what they'll do? Slowly begin to dwindle.
That's right.
The same people you pass going up, you're gonna pass going down.
That's a fact. That's an absolute fact. That's an absolute fact there. Keep reading that verse for me, Baba Kusha.
Verse 7. Thus said the Most High of Hosts, consider your ways.
Thus said the Lord of armies, right?
Come.
Consider what?
Consider your ways.
That's what we got to do. As Officer Zion said, man, we gotta consider the things that we're doing. Is this fruitful with respect to the mission of when we say Kwam Yasha Allah, arise Israel? Is this benefiting the nation? Or is this just benefiting me? Is this just benefiting that whore of a wife of mine? Her carnal desires, her carnal lusts, and just wanting to be fulfilled, that jovial fulfillment of a child. Right. Good night. So to do what now? Consider
your ways.
That's right. These are your ways. These are not the ways that I taught you. These are your ways. These are the ways that you learned under the oppressor. To rape, rob, and murder. To hoard resources to yourself. To withhold resources that you know your brother and your sisters need, man. To overlook their needs, overlook their poverty. You overlook their oppression. You don't give a damn about their burdens. You solely focused on you and yours. And that's a problem in the sight of the Lord. That's right. Keep reading.
Verse 8. Go up to the mountain and bring wood and build the house.
Right.
And I will take pleasure in it.
I will what?
Take pleasure in it.
The Lord saying he will what?
Take pleasure in it.
And you what? Building the house. Right. You think about house, it can translate to a family, including ancestors, descendants, and kinder. That's right. That's what we're doing in the ISUPK. We are rebuilding the Lord's house, man. And it's a very valuable position to be in. If you're a priest and a prophet, if you got a name, man, you got to put your damn hand to the plow. What they say, lean forward in the foxhole. Right. That's how we're going to, accomplish, making our nation great in the world again. It starts with us as individuals, man. Us recognizing the value of what?
So like I said, our brothers and sisters, man.
Keep reading.
Sir. And I will be glorified, said the Most High.
That's right. That's how you glorify the Most High power. Not by hoarding things to yourself, but by being generous, man. Rebuilding the house. Building up your brother, your sister. Right. It's all about inspiring, encouraging, uplifting. That's what we do in this school. We ain't no damn hate group. We ain't bomb no churches. Right. We ain't burn no crosses in nobody's yard as much as we hate Christianity. We ain't shooting up no schools. We ain't touching no children. We not trying to sleep with your goddamn wife, man. We're keeping God's law, statutes, commandments. And you hate us because of it. Keep reading.
Verse 9. You looked for much, and lo, it came to little.
That's right. You got these big grand visions, these big grand hopes and dreams. All of it amounted to nothing. Came to very little is what the Lord said. Keep reading.
Come on. And when you brought it home, I did blow upon it.
What did the Lord do?
And when you brought it home, I did blow upon it.
The Lord blew upon that, man. The crumbs that you gathered, thinking that you're doing something. The Lord blew it away, man. You should consider that. Reflect or chew on that, man. Think about that. You wonder why you can never, when nothing's working in your favor. You can never, get whatever it is that you're trying to get. It's because you're being selfish, man. You're not doing what the Lord wants you to do. You're not trying to rebuild his house. You're just worried about your damn house. Keep reading.
Come. Why? Said the Most High of hosts. Because of mine house that is waste, and you run every man into his own house.
Right. Keep reading.
Verse 10. Therefore the heaven over you is stayed from dew, and the earth is stayed from her fruit.
Good night.
Verse 11. And I called from a drought upon the land. So like I called for a drought upon the land, and upon the mountains, and upon the corn, and upon the new wine, and upon the oil, and upon that which the ground bringeth forth, and upon men, and upon cattle, and upon all the labor of the hands.
Man, this is crazy because right now, we're dealing with a drought in this hemisphere. They talking about not being able to move freight through the Panama Canal because of low water levels, man. The rivers and the lakes that would feed into that tributary, they're enduring a drought right now. It's cutting off, our oppressor's economy when it comes down to commerce, right. The exchange of goods and services in Jody's voice, Right. The Lord is doing this though. That's right. Man don't have the know-how to, he probably has the know-how to do it, but I highly doubt that you getting to that dollar. Why would he do that? This is the Lord's doing. Go ahead, Officer Zion.
I was about to say, the history, that was the whole the Panama conflict in the first place.
That's right.
To clear the way so they can create the Panama Canal.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yep.
They destabilize the land so they can go there and take over the land.
That's right.
And build what they want to build in the Panama Canal.
Good
they had a war down there because of all that, right?
That's right.
Here it is, the Lord fixing it how he wanted it done again. They said, man playing in the Most High laugh. Ain't that what they say?
That's right. That's right. You keep reading, brother.
Come on. Verse 10. Therefore the heaven over you is stayed from dew. Verse 12. Then Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Joshua, the son of Josedek, the high priest, with all the remnant of the people, obeyed the voice of the Most High, their power.
This is a collective, man. This is social capital here. This is the value of us being brothers and sisters coming together for the greater good of the Lord's house. Rebuilding the Lord's house, man. You ain't gonna be able to. This house can't be a home unless we are united.
Right.
We can't be divided. There can be no divisions amongst us. We got to be one nation. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading.
And the words of Haggai the prophet, as the Most High their power had sent him, and the people did fear before the Most High.
And it begins with the fear of the Lord. That's right. How you fear the Lord? We fear the Lord by being obedient, by fearing those curses, man. And being reflective, understanding what has happened to us, how far we have come as a nation of people. We ain't really that far removed from the plantation. We really aren't. We could go back. We could definitely go back. All it would take is them to abolish, what amendment? The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. Then your black ass is back on Salakia. Your black behind is back on the plantation, back in the tobacco fields, back in the sugarcane fields, back in the rice paddies, working for massa. You know what I'm saying? If you keep reading Haggai, this is a very interesting book. You know, it just talks about us rebuilding the temple and what it took for us to do that. And it took all of our combined, effort. That's the unification of our nation, literally, in order to rebuild the Lord's temple, man, in order to rebuild the Lord's house. That's what we're doing in the ISUPK. If you ain't in the ISUPK under Commander General Yohanna, you're not in the truth. These fake Israelite groups, every year, Commander General Yohanna says, all camps are to come together. We don't consider y'all camps. But Commander General Yohanna is such a brother. He has so much compassion. He understands whatever it is y'all trying to do. All camps are ordered to come back. Just think about how much more powerful we could be, how much more of a force for good we could be if y'all niggas stop being so damn selfish. Imagine that. Only in the perfect world, right? It's coming. Drop that. Give me 1 John 2 and 10, and we're going to finish with that. Book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 10. Baba Kusha. It's a time check. Okay, Most High in Christ. Let's get through this.
Khan, this is the book of 1 John chapter 2, verse 10. He that loveth his brother abideth in the light.
And if you love your brother, brotherhood is synonymous with sisterhood, right? If you love your brother and sister, you will abide in the light. What does that mean? Where is the light on the earth today? Outside of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Where's the light? Everything else is absolute darkness, man. We are here bumping into everything, stubbing our toe and bumping our knee and banging our head on things in darkness. You got to come in here and get the light, man. That's right. Keep reading.
Come. And there is none occasion of stumbling in him.
That's right, because he loves his brother. He's abiding in the light. You know the truth. You're not going to fall, at the hands of the subtlety of our oppressor, because you know the truth. You know who he is. Anything he touches is not of the Most High. Right. So you're going to remove yourself. You're going to separate yourself from his customs, from his traditions, from his practices, from his belief systems. You're not going to put all your hopes and your dreams and your faith in his money that's being devalued. You got those BRICS nations, they realizing that this term white supremacy is a misnomer. This is a goddamn oxymoron. Right. You're comparing two things that don't make sense, man. That's right. Keep reading.
But verse 11. But he that hated his brother is in darkness.
Yeah, if you hate your brother, if you separated from your brother, if you want to continue to be divided from your brother, the Lord said that you were in darkness. Right. All you fake Israelites out there, I don't care what pseudo camp you call yourself to be. You're in darkness, all right? If you're in a Christian church, you're in darkness. Right. If you subscribe to being in Islam, you are in absolute darkness. Right. And I ain't gonna talk about them tree hugging, crystal charging, you know what I'm saying? Right. Flip flop wearing, whatever you want to call yourself, potheads. You're living in delusion. You're living in your truth, all right? This is the truth. There's only one truth, all right? Keep reading.
And walketh in darkness.
Walking in darkness. You know what it is. Cut the lights out in here. We know our way around this school. So I'm sure we can navigate. You know what I'm saying? We spend so much time in here, But you ain't in here. I cut the light off on you. Is this your first time in this class? You're gonna be bumping into every damn thing. You're gonna break your neck trying to get out of here, man. Or any room. Because that's what happens when you're in darkness. Right. All right. Keep reading.
And knoweth not whither he goeth.
You don't know where you're going. Right. You don't know how to get to the bathroom. You don't know how to get to the refrigerator in here. Because you're in darkness. Right. That's us. That's Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in America.
That's right.
In Europe, in Africa, in Asia, in Australia, in wherever we are. That's right. We're in darkness unless you're in the ISUPK. Right. Keep reading.
Because that darkness hath blinded his eyes.
And we have been blinded by the darkness of society. Right. We've been blinded by the darkness of the world, man. Right. You know, you got to come out of her, man. Depart from her is what the Bible says. You know, if you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, man, time is short. Time is short. Before you know it, they're going to be burning the American dollar in the streets. America can't go to war with all those BRICS nations. Imagine that. Imagine all those BRIC nations forging an alliance as they are before our eyes right now. Your pastor has not prepared you for World War III, man. It's coming soon, all right? If you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you need to recognize the value in brotherhood, which is what? The value of social capital, all right? That's my time. I'm Priest and Officer Bon Kayal, man. We're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge coming out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. If you're not in the ISUPK under Commanding General YAHANNA, you are not in the truth. I'm going to bring up Priest and Officer Quadam Ban YAHAWADAH, man, to read the security announcements. Sorry, guys.
Oh, son, correct.
It's a lock here.
You are,
straight, brother.
You right there.
Yeah, you good.
Security announcements. We're the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, operating under Commander General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to share themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3:8-10 means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Most High gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offer for priests not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like. The upcoming Holy Convocation, we are still in observance of the Feast of First Fruits. You understand? It is a span of 50 days. We'll be celebrating the closing of it on May the 29th, and it'll be starting on sundown that day. You can find us in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, 10th verse through the 22nd verse. Check on the bulletin boards and everything on your calendar in your respective places of school to see y'all upcoming what's going on. I think, what is it, cookout is May the 26th for California, South Cal.
Really?
Con, if
right
I'm not
around the
mistaken.
corner.
That's right around the corner, sir. So
Good night.
I think they put it on, was it South California?
Oh, wow. Already?
South California, I think it was May the 26th. South Cal, Con, right?
What?
If I'm not mistaken, but y'all check with your camp leader. You understand?
Better hit up
Yeah,
Captain
check with your
Gadar,
camp
you know
leader.
what I'm saying?
Don't quote me on that, but if I'm not mistaken, I did read that and see that otherwise.
Good night.
Remind and then checking all social media, man, when it comes to, the podcast, Let a Hebrew Speak, Cross the Line Radio, Chain Breakers. You understand? The list goes on, man.
Right.
If anyone want to be a troop in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. And with that, I imagine men to stand. Sisters, Yeshab, your men to stay seated. Baba Kashar. Men of Israel, we're going to render one courteous salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Amab Shabbat, Imagine, Barak. Yahya Matah, Sar, Imagine, Sister Stan, Baba Kashar. Men of Israel, we're going to render one courteous salute unto the sisters. Men of Israel, Amab Shabbat, Imagine, Barak. Yahya Matah, class dismissed. You put one out of your bag on the back. Huh? I need that.